Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 14 of our Salesforce training. And today we're going to be covering part two of workflow and process automation. This training, today we're going to focus mainly on flow. Flow is the advanced tool for process automation. So if you're really keen on working with Salesforce, you should be learning this because this is the future of Salesforce. Salesforce is trying to make everyone use Flow for their process automation. So if you're going to stay in this ecosystem for a very long time, Flow Builder or Flow Building is one thing you probably want to pay attention to. Before we get started on Flow Building and stuff, let me quickly go over Project 1B and see if there are any issues with Project 1B. So I'm just going to kind of like just walk through the project to find out if everything is okay and you guys are not misinterpreting some of the things I said. So the first thing I said was you should make sure that you're building upon your first project, okay? So it's very important because you don't want to start all over from scratch. And after you've gotten your first project, part A done, then you want to create new fields on the build object. The fields you're creating is essentially the same thing, just that they are called charges to. So wherever you had charges previously, you call them charges to. That's it. And you create total billing charges to. Also, you create a new field, which is paid. This field, if you're working in Salesforce, the type of field should be checkbox. So maybe a Boolean whereby it's paid or not paid. So let me quickly open the org and show you maybe I can show you one or two things, but let me just quickly illustrate what I meant by Boolean and stuff like that. So I go to my hands-on org, I go to Blackforce Training, which is our Salesforce org for the training. I go to my build object. Okay, I've not created the build object, but I'm going to use any object in the system. I'm using the account object. I'm using fields and relationship in the account. This is how you create those fields, okay? This is how you create the fields. But for the is paid, you just use checkbox. This is a checkbox, okay? So going back to this, number one is done within less than 1 minute. Now, okay, maybe not 1 minute, but 5 minutes, you're probably going to finish number one. Number two, create two record types on the build object. So imagine you have an object called build. You go to record types, okay? You go to object manager, you go to the objects, and you go to record types. Then you create two record types, okay? So the two record types I asked you to create is standard and premium. You should be able to create this within 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Going back to number three, using workflow rules, update all charges to fields based on the value of charges one. So previously, if you have done the project one, this should take you about 5 minutes as well. So what you need to do here is you want to create a workflow rule. Okay, you go to workflow rules, you go to create new rule, you select the build object. Okay, you select the build object and you create the workflow rule. So basically, because you want to, okay, you want to create the workflow rule, you want to update the charges anytime we have charges in the previous fields. So what you just need to select is created, okay? So whenever it's created, you create charges. But the thing there is that charges could also be updated, okay? Charges could also be updated. So you want to probably say whenever it's created and every time it's edited. You don't need to select this because there's no, perhaps you might want to select this if you want to be very rigid with your condition. For instance, you might just want to put what condition. You can just say anytime, let's say this is one of the charges field, right? You can just say anytime this equals or not equal to null. Okay, that's when the workflow should happen. So anytime there is a value in the one of the charges, the workflow rule should update the second charge. This is a very simple condition you can use, but some of you can use more advanced condition that would make sure that it is actually checking the charges, checking maybe the value has changed, then updates, okay? Because you don't have to constantly update if the value hasn't changed. But again, it's just about how detail-oriented you are when it comes to doing projects. Now, what do you want to do? You want to update, okay? You want to update the field, and you want to update based on maybe a particular previously created field, okay? So you want to just use a formula and you insert the SMS charges, okay? That's it. That's how to do your projects, okay? That's number 3. We've done that within probably 5 to 10 minutes. Then the process builder, calculate the total billing amount to such that if record type name is premium, the final total billing amount should multiply by 5. If record type name is standard, the final should multiply by 2. So what you need to do there is go to process builder, then you create a new process builder. Okay, you create a new process builder and you say when record changes on the bill object. So your interest is bill object. Okay, your interest should be the bill object, but I'll just select any object for the time being. And your condition should be when created or edited. Okay, you save and you had a criteria. This is where you want to check the record type. Okay, check the record type, and what you're selecting is the record type. If you have a record type, it should be able to select the record type. Okay, so you're selecting the record type name. So when you select the record type name, you now say whenever the record type name equals to reference record type premium, then you do this. If not, you go to the next one and you check whenever it is this, you do this. Okay, so the criteria here is your project. If you can get the criteria right, then you do the action based on the criteria that it's set. For instance, all you just need to do is, let's say we're doing a simple action here. When the client name, we're selecting client name and we say active, which is not really a good stuff, but let's just say that, okay, that's a condition. We save. Then what should be the action? The action should be updates, or the action, the final total billing amount to be multiplied by 5, okay? So that's what you're working on. So the action should be, you want to update records, okay? Previously, the total billing amount 2 will not have any updates, but because you put this process builder in place, all you just need to do is update total billing amount 2, okay? Then the action would be update total billing amount 2, update total billing amount 2. Then you click on the record to update. So you want to select what came with this. Let me explain what this means. If you select this, it's going to be the record that you entered when creating the bill. So, okay, if you select this, it's going to select related related bill record. But obviously you want to select this, and it's going to give you all the values that you previously entered in the bill object. And you just want to match your total billing amount. Okay, let's say this is total billing amount. You want to use a formula field, and you just want to multiply the previous total billing amount times 2 or 5, whatever record type you're checking, okay? So whatever the value of the record type, you multiply by 2 or by 5, okay? That's how to solve number 4. Send the customer email alert whenever a new bill is created for the customer using the builder or using the process builder or workflow rule. What does that mean? So basically, you want to do one thing. You have an object, okay? You have an object. Let's say you have an account object. You you have the bill object. You create a new field called email, customer email, okay? You create a new field called customer email, okay? That's it. Then you go to workflow rules, okay? You go to workflow rules and you create a field update. Whenever you create a new bill, you create a field update. So the field update would cross-reference from the customer object. So based on the update action, you pull records from the customer object, because customer object, you can create an email. So in the bill object, you have a field called email, and because you're doing a workflow update, anytime you create a customer that has an email, the bill object's email field will be updated. After doing that, then you create another workflow rule immediately after to send an email alert. So the first thing is you update the bill email field. The second thing is you send an email alert. Okay, I wouldn't say more than that, but that's how to solve the email alert section. And this honestly, it's very easy. The only thing you probably have challenges here is the Salesforce ID. So I'm going to open this and I'm going to open the one of the file just to show you what we have in the account objects. So this is what we have in the account object, account data, right? And we have what we call the Salesforce ID. This ID, you need to be mapping it with an external ID on the account objects. So the first thing you want to do is upload the account data. If you don't upload the account data, you cannot even do this project, okay? You want to replace the owner ID with a user ID present in your own Salesforce org, not this Salesforce org. So you don't even need to have this created by ID, because owner ID and created by ID, they're somewhat similar. But if you want to, perhaps you should have the same value in created by ID and owner ID, but this is totally up to you. The most important thing here is how do you identify the data that is coming from a different system? And you should be mapping this ID to an ID, to an external ID, which you're going to create on the account object. Okay, so don't literally upload this into the ID field on the account, because it shouldn't let you have it there, because it is coming from a different system. So ID is unique in Salesforce. If Salesforce says this ID has already been used in another system, you cannot upload it using this ID into your system. Okay, so once you have the account ID, you export the account ID and you map the account ID, you map the account records with the contact based on the external ID field. You map the opportunity record you're bringing in based on the external ID field, okay? So that's how to solve the data loader problem. You go to the other one, which is, just give me 1 minute. So you go to the other one. I already gave you the instruction here, so you should be fine. You go to create simple report. This is the easiest of all the tasks. All you just need to do is go to reports and create a new report. Then you do a cross-object filter. Okay, you do a cross-object filter to give you on the filter. You go to cross-object. It gives you with and without. So with contact, without contact, with opportunities, without opportunities. This should take you about 10 to 15 minutes. And you go to set your org sharing on the set your org sharing settings. You go to your org sharing settings. Then you set it to be private. Whatever it is, you set it as private. That should take you about 2 minutes. Then you go to create dashboard and you give the settings. Okay, so yeah. So this one requires you to assign page layout based on the record type. So what does that mean? You have the objects, you go to page layout, and there's what they call page layout assignment. Then you can edit assignments and you assign based on the profile. So for instance, if you want to give system admin the premium account page layout, you give it a premium account page layout. Or if you want to give, let's say, cost accounting profile, a different layout, just select it and give the premium customer. You want to give a different layout, just select it and give the standard customer layout, okay? That should take you about 5 minutes. Then you go to this. So essentially, this is a time-dependent workflow. And what you want to do here is you want to go back to workflow and you want to create a time-dependent workflow. So I'll click on an existing workflow, and instead of having an immediate workflow action, you want to create a time-dependent workflow action. But before you can do that, you need to ensure that it's been deactivated and you're not selecting created and edited, okay? So now you create a time-dependent workflow action, you set it at 7 days, and you use the created date, okay? You save. So once you save that, there is a time-dependent workflow, and you're gonna be using the filter logic to find out if it's paid on the bill object, it's false. Send an email. If not, do this and the likes. And the final one is just to brand your application. So essentially what that means is you go to App Manager, you create a new Lightning app, and you just brand it. That's it. That's the project. The project can be done within a day if you're fully focused on it. But if you're not fully focused, you can spend 1 hour every other day, and you should be able to do this project. Before we continue, I would like to find out, do you guys have any questions on the project? Is there something that it's not clear? Is that something that you feel like I've missed out, or you're very sure that it's wrong and I can easily address it?
Well, okay. It's not necessary. I just have a comment. It's not about what you said being wrong. It's to clarify the ID part for accounts data. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't clear because what I did, I uploaded the accounts data, cleaned it up, and it was fine. Then I exported it, then extracted the ID to use for contacts and for opportunities, and it didn't work. So I had to go back to use the ID that came with the raw data.
So let's go back to the reason why I'm fast with the explanation is because I don't want to tell you all the answers. Okay, so let's go back to that. Let's go back to that again. I plan to do this project for you guys on Thursday. So I wouldn't want to do it now, but for the sake of understanding and your submission, let's go back to this data because it's very important. Okay, so now explain to me what is the problem with importing this data into your system. Explain to me.
The account data had no issue, right?
Yes.
But because I needed something to link the account data to contacts and opportunities, so after I uploaded the account data and it was successful, I exported it, then extracted the ID to use for contacts and opportunities. Also, the number of records the account has is more than the contacts record. And
did you delete all your account records in the system before you start this project?
No, I did not.
So you have to first of all delete all your accounts records in the system, and you're uploading a brand new account in the system. That's number one. Number two, this ID should be external ID. So you're not uploading an ID field into the account object. When you first of all upload this, it should be inserting account record, not updating account record, because you don't have this in the system.
Okay, because I use offset.
Yeah, you cannot use offset because it's going to make an assumption that this ID is your Salesforce ID, and it is not your Salesforce account ID. It is my own org. You want to bring it into your own org. Does this make sense? So this is not a real ID for your org. The only reason why you want to keep this ID is because you want to associate this account with opportunities and contacts. So you need to create a new field on the account object called external ID.
Yeah.
Okay. When you upload, you're going to map this to an external ID.
Yeah.
No. I need to understand. Did you get what I just said?
No. Because we're using data loader. So because when we try to map, it doesn't map to anything.
You have to create an external ID.
So we just formulate an external ID. Is that what you mean?
Yes, you create it. You create the external ID. It's a random field for identifying legacy IDs for the account objects.
Okay. And so when that is uploaded and done, we have to export it and then use that same ID for contacts and opportunities.
Yes, knowing that the name will be mapping and the external ID will be mapping, so you don't lose that relationship for the legacy data.
Yeah. We need to delete all the opportunity and contacts data in our org as well.
You've just created a brand new Salesforce. You want to load legacy data into that Salesforce. The first thing you want to do is delete all records, because your production org would not have all this dummy data you get when you create a hands-on org. So it's going to be a brand new production org.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another question. So we are not to tamper with the number of records, the record counts, right? However, account data has 32 records and contact has 26. So if you're going to match that, we would have more account record than contacts.
Possibly. It shouldn't really matter, honestly. Like, I'm not looking at that. I just want to be able to look at the dashboard and I can see that it makes sense. For instance, if your dashboard is telling me that account record in the system is 2 or is 50, I know that you're wrong. But if I see it's 34, I know that you're right. Okay? And not all contact has an account. Not all opportunities has account. So put that into perspective. Like literally what I did today was data mining. I use Excel to mine data, to clean data, and I upload it into the system. That was what I did today, throughout today. So trust me, when you get your Salesforce job, you'll be doing this on a daily basis and you need to get used to it right now. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is create a new field called external ID. Then create another new field on the opportunity object called external ID. You have to create external ID to hold the value of these IDs you've been given so you don't miss it. Then when you're inserting into opportunity, you want to map where account external ID equals to the ID from the legacy system.
Yeah. So the account record, when you export the account data, it will have 2 sets of IDs.
When you export, yes, the first one is the ID from the Salesforce org. The other one is the external ID from the legacy system, which you want to use to identify the accounts mapped to contacts, accounts mapped to opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky, but if you get this, you'll be able to do any data loading job. And data loading is the first thing you would do as a consultant, because you would be moving legacy system into production. How would you go about it? It's data loading. Okay, I will make sure I cover this on Thursday, but I want you to give it a go and try to get something out. The worst scenario is this. Load accounts, load opportunity, load contacts, and do not match them. That's the worst case scenario. But I don't want you to do that, okay? I'd rather you do it the proper way and get the full mark than for you to just load data into the system without logical relationship within the data. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Adiola, please.
Okay, thank you. Rosemary has asked most of my questions, but from what you just said now, because I've uploaded all my data and I used the account ID generated by the system and added it to opportunity And on my opportunity file, I still have this owner's ID, which is the user ID for the administrator and the user from the first project. Now, from what you're saying we should also include this external ID. So are we going to have 3 columns for IDs, one from the account ID, another owner ID, which is the user ID, and the external ID that we will create by ourselves? Am I correct to say on opportunity, we would now have 3 columns for IDs?
So if you go to opportunity data, for instance, this is opportunity data, right? Opportunity data has account ID. This account ID would be the external ID, the new external ID you created on the account object.
Okay.
And this ID would be opportunity external ID, which you might not need for this project. But for project's sake, you need to still retain this ID, because in future they can ask you questions about this ID and you might not be able to answer it.
Okay. So
you don't need this ID, but you can still store it into the system for legacy purpose.
Okay. And then I will
same with the contact as well. You don't need the ID on the contact, but still keep it in the system. Just call it contact external ID, opportunity external ID, but you don't need it you don't need it for this project, because the only thing you need is this ID, the account ID. But for this project, this will now be called external account ID. Okay?
Okay, external account ID. Then this one that you just have ID, what name would that be?
You don't need this ID, but you can call it external opportunity ID for legacy purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
Legacy meaning old. Okay.
Yeah, meaning from the other system. So in future, if they want to find out, oh, what is the primary key? Where is this guy's record? You can still make reference to it in Salesforce, even though the legacy system is no longer in use. You can still have the data in Salesforce and you can identify it, but you don't really need it for this project. The only ID field you need was the account object ID, and retaining that ID is the key to doing this data loading. It's one of the most interesting data loading projects you ever faced.
Yes. And plus this owner ID column, am I correct to say that, which is the user ID?
The owner ID column is technically you just going to your Salesforce and look for test user. This is the ID we're talking about.
Yes. So are we to keep it on the opportunity upload? Are we to maintain that column too?
It's up to you. I think there are 2 users, right? I say you should try to use 2 users. Don't make it just 1 user. Okay? Try to use 2 users, and I just want to see dynamic dashboard.
I actually use 3 users here. Is it okay? I should reduce it to 2.
One user won't be active, right? You have only 2 licenses and 1 won't be active. So it's better for you to just use 2. Okay. So don't stress it. Okay, don't stress it. It's very easy, and the only thing, like I said, is the external ID that you need to map. That's all. So if you can get that external ID mapping, you're good. But if you cannot get it, don't stress it. It's not a big deal. Still load data into the system, and after the project solution, you'll be good at loading data into the system. Don't worry about it.
Yes, I've been able to load all 3 actually, but I realized some mistakes. Like I adjusted my opportunity. I reduced it to 32 to match account. And then I added more data to contact to match it to 32. But later, Rosemary pointed me to that you said we should not adjust the number of the records. So I plan to go back to adjust that. But from what you just said, I think I'll just delete everything I have on contact, opportunity, and account, and re-upload everything. And sorry, another question that I have. So that means for opportunity and contact too, it will be insert and not upstart, because I use insert for all 3 of mine.
The first thing, the only insert you're going to be doing is the account, and for opportunity data, you might want to do upstart, right?
Okay. So opportunity and contact we use upstart, but account we use insert.
Yes.
Okay. 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 Thank you so much.
No worries. No worries. Echo, please.
Thank you, Babatope. I just was being curious though. For the initial workflow, you did the null value. I was just wondering why you did that, resulting to null when you were setting the criteria.
I'm looking for a criteria. An easy criteria would be when charges is not null, do this. That's an easy criteria. I don't need to crack my brain for it.
Oh, okay.
You get what I mean? I don't need to crack my brain for it. When it's not null, then I know that there's an SMS charge. So update the other SMS charge field. That's it.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Okay. So, yeah, the project is not hard. You just need time. And if you're working full time, you might not have that time to do it. Again, this project will give you that opportunity to face any interview in Salesforce. You'll be chatting with the recruiter and not being interviewed. Okay. So you want to be in charge of your interview. And if you want to be in charge of your interview, you need to do this project and be confident about the project. It covers everything you need to know as a Salesforce admin and a Salesforce consultant. So I'm going to answer Enobong.
Sorry, I want to say something about Babatope.
Yes.
Okay, for billing, when we're talking about the workflow rules and notifying the customer, you mentioned creating an email in the bill object. Is that really necessary because the customer object has the email field?
So how would you send an email from the customer object when you're creating a bill in the bill object?
Okay, I used process automation because I think, you said to use, process builder workflow. So I used process builder and did the email automation through there.
Okay, as long as it works, you can use workflow rule, you can use process builder, whichever way, as long as it works, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, as long as it works, it's fine. Okay, Enobong, please.
Yeah, Babatope, thank you for the opportunity to ask the question. The ECHO talked about the null, and in my own case, I think I used equals to 0 because the charges one are all formula fields that calculate and have this thing. So I believe that works too, right?
No, you test it. I don't even need to know if it works or not. The only thing you need to do is create a new bill and find out if SMS2 is being updated. If it's updated, then you're good. If it's not, then obviously it's not working.
Oh, no. Okay, that's fine. Mine worked, so no problem.
Yeah, if it works, then there's no right or wrong. There's no one way of doing things when it comes to workflow. It's about the way you're thinking. You're thinking of how to solve the problem. And if your thinking says, I want to use this, feel free to go ahead and use it. As long as it works and is not taking longer processing time, then that's good. But if it's going to take 1 hour before it processes, obviously that's not good, right? So it's just about logical ways of thinking. Yeah, so no worries. Let's go into today's training. Again, today's training is about Flow Builder. Flow Builder is the future of Salesforce. The reason why it's the future of Salesforce is because it can do virtually anything you can do on Workflow and Process Builder, okay? It can do anything you can do on Workflow and Process Builder. For instance, the flow, with the workflow rules, you can update. You can update a field. You can send an email alert. You can update a field, send an email alert, send outbound message, and create tasks. With Process Builder, you can do almost the same thing without sending outbound messages. But with Flow, you can do everything Workflow can do, Process Builder can do, plus more. For instance, you can write logic and you can delete a record, okay? Remember this, you can delete a record using Flow. Process Builder, you cannot delete a record. If you go to Process Builder and you try to create or update an existing Process Builder, okay? So let's just have a simple Process Builder. I'm gonna clone C. Let me clone it so I can edit it. Then you go to clone Okay, you can add action, then update, submit for approval, send customer notification, flows, create a record, apex, but you cannot delete, okay? You cannot delete. With flow, you can delete. So how do you get into flow? The same way, go to quick find and type in flow, okay? Flow, everything I'm going to teach you today about flow is advanced for your Salesforce admin, even for your consulting. Flows are typically used by developers. So don't stress yourself over this. However, you should be able to do basic stuff. By basic stuff, I mean, if you follow this step guides, you will be able to replicate what I'm doing. But don't think about it from a user point of view, in the sense that don't overwhelm yourself thinking, oh, I cannot do this. You wouldn't be required to do it as an admin. You only be using it when someone has developed it for you. But again, you should still be able to do basic things, okay? For instance, Salesforce has what they call pre-made flows. What are pre-made flows? Pre-made flows is just to inspire you to see what flow can do. So let me give you an example. They have what they call create a case. So what's the use case for creating a case? You are very busy. Every time someone calls you on the phone, you need to constantly create case, and you cannot find a case object here, or you have some predefined case processes which you want to automate, okay? So you can easily create something like that using flow. So Salesforce has given us a very simple create case flow, which I just click on right now. As you can see, it looks really complex, but don't worry, you'll be building this by the end of today's class, hopefully. I run this, and when I run this, you can probably see a dummy way of what flow is all about. So right now, you have an endpoint whereby you can create flow. You can create a case. So the first thing is, hello, this is Babatope. Can you please provide your first name and last name? Let's say you're on the call with someone, a client. The client provided the first name and last name. Okay, and next. You see, it makes the admin work easy, right? It doesn't look boring like the one you see in the front end, whereby you have to click on here, you have to create a new and blah, blah, blah. You don't have that kind of situation. It's just asking you, okay, can you please provide your email address? Then your phone number. Okay, then it goes next. Then it says case type, case origin, case subject, and the like. So what does this mean? It means that you can create a contact. After creating a contact, you can create a case, okay? After creating a case, you have been able to do two things at the same time, and you provide that customer with the case number. Finish, that's it. This is what flow is all about. Flow just makes your life easier as a Salesforce admin or a Salesforce person, someone that uses Salesforce in an organization. As a consultant, you might be proposing this for your clients. Like you ask them, what are the things you do on a daily basis that seems overwhelming? Then you now say, we can create a flow for you that would help you streamline these processes, and it's going to look nice. So if you present your client with something like this, they was like, this looks good, but how do you create this? This is flow, and this is what Salesforce flow is all about. So let's try just one basic thing in flow, okay? I want to create a flow that would say, welcome, Salesforce admin name. Today's date is blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's try it. I'm going to close this and I'm going to say new flow. Okay, we're going to click on new flow. And we have different types of flows we can create. Just like the same way we have when we're creating a process builder, we can create a process builder based on when a record is created and the likes. The same way, when you're creating a process builder, you have this option to create to initiate a process when a record is changing, when a platform event is received, or can be invoked from another process. Same way we can do flow, but we have the option of a screen flow. A screen flow is what I just showed you. This is a screen flow whereby you're asking questions and you're getting the data from that question and you're using it behind the scene. Okay, this is a screen flow. Then you have scheduled trigger flow, launches at a specified time and frequency. Let's say, for instance, every time you enter data into the system, you don't usually enter the account number. And your manager has asked you, send me a list of all data in the system without account number, or you need to send this to another administrator for data processing. That's when you can use a scheduled trigger that automatically send this list without being asked, okay? Then you also have record trigger flow, the one that you are used to when you create a record, when you update a record, and the likes, okay? Then you have auto launch flow, the flow that is invoked by other processes. For instance, you can call a flow from process builder. Remember, when you have a process builder, you have the option of selecting a flow as an action. Okay, so I'm just showing you the process builder, and I can show you which you probably seen several times, but it's always good to actually see again, so you can be aware of it. Okay, so I just have this simple stuff in place, and I just want to see the action. Okay, you can call a flow. Can you see? You can call a flow from a process builder. So if a criteria is met, you can call a flow. Okay, so that's what it means to auto launch flow. You can auto launch flow from a process builder or wherever Apex class you've designed. But for this lesson, I want to take it really slow with you so you can understand the fundamentals of flow. Then you can, in your spare time, start playing around with what flows can do. Okay, so I'm going to select a very simple screen flow. I click on next, and you have the option to select a free form flow or auto layout flow. This is much visually appealing, but you can select either of the two. There is no right or wrong selection based on that. So this is the first thing you will see when you're working with flow. Flow is very simple. Flow is very intuitive. Flow is just like process builder, but it can do more than process builder. Flow is a feature of Salesforce. If you ever want to be very, very good with Salesforce, try to dedicate some time to work with flow. I don't work with flow. I never really work with flow at work because it is for those that do not want to code. Okay? If you do not want to code, then this is what you should be spending your time on. But if you want to code, then obviously you shouldn't spend your time on flow, but write Apex classes and stuff like that. Number two, flow is used for consultants that do not know how to code. Your client will ask you, I want to do this stuff. And you know that coding would be the ideal solution, or not ideal. Coding would be an alternative solution or a possible solution. But if you're like, I don't really know how to code, or the process of coding is just too long, you should be using flow, because in future, you'll be able to do the same thing as a developer if you can master flow properly. So now let's do the basic example I showed you, right? I'm on the home page and I want to see welcome to Salesforce and the likes. Simple flow that just says welcome and my name. So now I click on add elements. What are elements? Elements are the interaction. Elements are the interaction or the things you would like to see in the flow. For instance, these are elements. The forms you're asking people, they are all elements of a flow, okay? So if you want to build a flow, you need to understand different elements and their use cases. Interaction is when you want to get inputs from the user. I want to collect the first name, the last name. These are ways which you interact with a user, and it's just a form field, right? So now if you have a form field, you want to do some decision, just like if-else statement, then you put some decision. After that, you can do your CRUD. What are CRUD? Again, CRUD is create, update, read, and delete. Okay? So if you want to interact with the Salesforce data, then this is what you do with the data. Create, update, get, delete. Okay? So let's start with the basic one. I just want to display an information. So I selected screen. Again, click on this add, click on screen. I just want to display information. So the first thing is I will just say, welcome notes. Okay, welcome notes. I can just call it welcome screen. It doesn't matter. So welcome screen is a label. Then API name automatically enters, because API name, you shouldn't be putting space in your API name. So anytime you have a space here, the automatic API name would just put an underscore. Okay, so now this is a welcome screen, and I click on done. Okay, I click on done and I save. I'll call it welcome screen. Okay, again, automatically Flow says API and save. So now that I have a welcome screen, the next thing I need to do, just like with every other thing in Salesforce, you need to activate. So once you activate this, the welcome screen would be available to use on your pages or wherever you want to use the flow. Okay, so now basic stuff, welcome screen. I go back to my home page. I click on edit page. Okay, I click on edit page. Remember, I want to bring my flow. I look for flow and I drag the flow here. Okay, so that's it. But remember, I need to select the flow I'm interested in. Okay, I click on save, activate, assign to default org, just like anything you do. I activate the flow. Then I go back to the page. I refresh. As you can see, we have the welcome screen. We don't have anything in our flow yet. That's the welcome screen, and that's it. Okay. If you don't like this finish button because it's useless. Right now, the finish button does not do anything. What do you need to do? Go back to the flow. Make sure that you save as to create a new version. Just like the same way we create a new version with Process Builder, we create a new version with Flow, we save. And we go to the welcome screen, the screen we created earlier. We click on Edit. I go to Configure Header. Configure Header means show header, meaning that show header, this is the welcome screen. Show header, meaning that you want to show this welcome screen. Show footer, meaning that you want to show this finish, okay? So I'm gonna say done. I uncheck the show footer and I save, okay? So because I already, it's telling me that these issues don't prevent activation, but can cause problems. Like it's saying it's missing navigation, which is fine, okay? I don't need it, okay? Activate, okay? Then I refresh this screen again. And now the finish is gone. The footer is gone. So in Flow, we have the header, we have the content, and we have the footer. Now I've taken off the footer, I only have the header, okay? So now that I have done that, but that's not the purpose of Flow. We want to actually see Flow in action. I want to go back to this welcome screen. I edit. I want to display a message. I go to display. I drag display into the content area. Then I click on that display. I say, welcome message. Okay? Remember, API name cannot have space. I make sure that they are together. Then I say, welcome to your brand new Salesforce hub. Okay, now I just style it a little bit and I save. Okay, done. Save as, new version. Anytime you're making changes to your flow, always remember you have to save as and you have to activate. Okay, so save as, activate, then I refresh. So can you see it says welcome to your brand new Salesforce org. This is again a very simple thing you can do to make the homepage look really nice. Now that we have this, what if we want to do something more than just this? I want to show welcome my name, not just welcome. I want to say welcome Babatope. Today's date is 23 or 22, blah, blah, blah. How do I do that? I go back to my flow. Remember, I have to save as whenever I make changes. I click on edit element again, and I go to this welcome. I want to customize it. I say welcome to your Salesforce org. So insert a resource. What is a resource? A resource is either a field, remember when you have your objects, you store information in fields and relationships. So a resource could just be a simple field. A resource could be a value you've stored in the system. A resource could be anything you've created. So if you don't have a resource in place, you can create a new resource. So you specify variable, constant, formula, whatever it is, okay? So I wouldn't go into this yet, but I just want to show you a very simple resource that says, I want to get the username of the person that is logged in. So I'm going to go to user, okay? Remember, I just type in resource, then I go to the user, then I look for the first name, okay? So as you can see, it has now given me this. So don't get overwhelmed with this. I did not type this myself. I just follow a simple instruction. Insert resource, okay? Insert a resource, and I go to the user, then I look for the first name, and I have it there, okay? So I did not type it. I did not do anything. It's just as simple as that, and I click on done. But remember, anytime you make changes to your flow, you have to save as, and you have to activate. So now I save as, activate, and I refresh this. Can you see? It has automatically grabbed the user that is logged in, and it has customized that user. Okay? It has customized the user. Welcome, Babatope. So next time test user login is going to say, welcome, test user. This is Flow. Flow makes it easier to start coding without writing any code. All you just need to know is what the client really wants and try to make the client happy. Okay, so now that we've seen a very basic flow, let's click on edit again and do something else. Click on that, and I'll say, welcome to your brand new hub. Today's date is, again, insert a resource. A resource could be anything. You can pre-create this resource, or you can do whatever you want to do with the resource, but make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. For instance, I can look for my company name, organization.company. So where is company name? Name, okay. Sorry, I'll just say company name, for instance. Company name is, okay. Then again, today's date is, go to insert resource and go to system, then origin date time. Okay, you can select that, or you can go to resource again and look for something that can give you today's date. But if you cannot get any today's date, just go to system and just get origin date time. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to bold this and I'm going to bold this, okay? So this is the use of Flow. Flow just makes life easier for you without writing any code. You start making the Salesforce org a bit interactive. Now I click on that, and oh, sorry, the origin date is not this. What could be the origin date? Let me see. Click on edit. Let me see. There should be a date. Let me see. Salesforce today's date. But before then, let me see. Organization profile, user. You should be able to do this, right? I believe you should be able to do this with formula. Just making sure, because you should be able to do anything with formula, just like what we have here. So you go back to Flow and you put in maybe today's date. No, sorry. Today. I don't know if this will work, but I can try. Oh, it's already giving me, it's saying today is not a valid stuff. Oh, profile system. Okay, what I can do is this. Remember, I told you a resource is something that you either create or you insert based on what is in existence, right? So I'm going to say, I want to create that resource. I'm going to call it a formula field, okay? And I'm going to call it today's date, okay? Then I say the data type is date time. Then I say insert. I want to insert today. Okay, insert today, done. Okay, so now I've created my own unique resource because I could not find it in the available resource. Okay, so I created my own unique resource. I click on done. I click on save as. Then I activate it. Okay, save as. Just heads up. Today's date formula. The formula expression is invalid. Okay, I selected date time and I was using today. So what I need to do is either change the date time or make sure that this is a date time. So how do you get a date time? What I can do is just create a new one that has a date time or that has just a date. Okay, so go back, create a new resource and just call it date formula. I'll call it today's date without time, okay? Then I select just date, not date time. Then I say today. Hopefully this should work. I expect it to work. Okay, done. Okay, today's date without date time, okay? That's what I want to select. Okay, then done. Let's see this, if it should work. Save. Okay. The formula expression. Okay, I really need to see how to get today's date. Today's date formula, Salesforce.
You have an exclamation mark in front of you today.
I have an exclamation mark. Okay, let me see that. Edit. Before I just go to my resource, I don't have it.
When you called it
okay.
On your screen.
Yeah, I needed to, because that's the way you call it, right? You needed to have this exclamation mark. That's when you call a variable.
You don't have a dollar sign.
Sorry?
You don't have a dollar sign after.
Dollar sign is when it's within the org. So you don't need to put dollar sign to the ones you created.
Okay.
I don't think that's the issue. It's just a case of not getting the right value. The right value is not being displayed. So for this, I'm trying give me 1 minute. I needed to. When you're entering a formula in the Salesforce, it's just today, right? Can someone give me the formula for today? It should be today. That's it. It should be today. 2. No. But that's not really a big deal. I'm just trying to make sure that you can create dynamic stuff. I can get back to you on that so we don't waste much time on that. I can quickly get back to you maybe before the end of the class. I'll get back to you on that. But again, we just want to make something dynamic. If it's in a system, we can use it in the system. If not, then we can easily create our own. Okay, so I cannot activate this because there's an error.
Are you referring to today in Excel? Are you referring to how you type the formula for today in Excel? Yeah, it's open and close. You have to open and close the bracket after today.
After today, open
and close the bracket. So yeah, that's it. But you have to put it. Don't you need to put equal to sign before today?
I did all those stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, Babatope, try use today, just like in front of today, just use today.
Like just today like this?
No, just type use in front. Yeah, and then today. No. It's still in caps, space. Yeah, in caps today.
Are you serious?
And then try that and see.
Wow. Is this gonna work? Have you tried it before?
Well, I haven't, but I just thought maybe you can try and see.
That I don't think that will work. Formula flow today.
Babatope, can we try using now so that whatever time you log in,
actually now
you'll see that time, the current time.
Then it should be date
now
time.
Should be lowercase though.
If today is not working, how will now work? Because now and today is almost the same thing. Because it's just that we're not getting the syntax right. So let me just quickly look at the syntax. etc now.
Or are you supposed to put the quotation mark? Or what do you call it?
Not really.
Not really. I remember it's just equal to.
Since we are doing this, I might as well just, okay, it's flow. Sorry. I know we can get this out of the box, but it's funny that.
Yeah, try the use today and see if it's gonna work.
Yeah, so we just get it from the flow. Okay, we type in flow and we get the current dates. Okay. I was looking for it, I couldn't find it, but that's a bit silly. But then save as. Okay. But because let me just kind of like save as a new flow. Okay, so we remove all those stuff. Welcome screen. Okay, welcome screen flow. Save as. Then save. Flow process name welcome screen already exists. Okay, save. Then we have that. I'm going to take all this off, okay? The welcome screen is missing navigation. That's fine. Today's formula is an expression. That's fine. So I go to edit and I take off anything that has to do with today's, which is this. Take it off, okay? Most likely this was working before, but because we had that and it was confusing. But now we have the normal stuff, okay? Save, okay? And the issue is preventing today's formula. Again, Are we using today's formula anywhere? Welcome, this. I can't see us using today's formula. Okay, save. So I need to delete this resource.
Babatope, I saw current date. Does that mean today's date?
Yes. Flow.current date is like, it's just accessing the current date for this flow. Okay, so save, and that's fine. Activate. Okay, so remember our new flow is welcome screen 2. I go back to my Salesforce and I click on edit just to change it from the normal to welcome screen 2. I go to my flow and welcome screen 2. Okay, save, activate. If you haven't, then go back, refresh. Is going to get you today's date. Okay, and it's going to get you the company name. Can you see how we're able to get the value just by referencing where the value is coming from? Okay, for the flow, all I did was just get the flow.current date. Remember, you can get as many information from the flow parameters, the flow variable. Just go to the flow and you see all this available to you. Okay, but you don't have to put anything you don't really need. You can go to API, you can go to label, you can go to organization. I can easily show you how to use label. For label, I can just go to home, go to custom label, and you create a custom label. You call it welcome intro message. Okay, welcome intro message, and you say, this is a welcome intro message stored in a label. Okay, it's just a simple welcome intro message stored in a label. Then I go to my flow and I can reference label. Okay, then I can say welcome intro message. Welcome intro message, okay? Because if I refresh the screen, I should be able to get that. So I'll just say this label. I'll just say label, welcome intro message, okay? Enter a valid value. What I can do is just refresh this. So my custom label can come in. Then I click on edit elements. This, I go to insert, then I go to label, welcome intro message, okay? The label I just created is now there. Then I save, okay? Then I save as, just to make sure that it kicks in, I activate, and I go to my home, refresh this, and the welcome intro message would automatically come and it's stored in the label, okay? So if you change this and into updated, okay, you're just updating the label, you save. You don't have to touch the flow again. The flow is already active and is running. The updated label should be updated, okay? So that's how you use label. That's how you use flow current date time and other flow properties. That's how you use the company information, okay? So this is how you just build a very simple flow that displays information that exists in the system. Now let's do something more fun. I want to create a new record right from the home page, okay? I want to create a new record right from the home page. How do I do that? I go to flow. Okay, that was because I wasn't planning to do flow dates, but I do screen flow. I go to next. I want to create a very simple record on the account record, okay? On the account object. This is the account object. I don't want to come to the account object. I want to be able to create a record on the account object. I go to new flow, and I click on screen flow, which is okay. And I select auto layout flow. Then I want to do what? I want to get the inputs for the account record I want to create. So I select screen, and I'm going to give it a label, just account record form, okay? And I now want to get the form information. So if you want to create an account, what do? Go to account, click on new, find out the required field, client name, business type, okay? These are the two required fields. I go to the flow. I want to create a text field, and I'll call it account name, okay? And I want to make it required. I go to, I'll call this business type, okay? The business type is going to be pick list. Remember, to create a business type is pick list, premium and standard. Go to pick list, drag it in here, and call it business type, okay? Business type is a pick list. So data type is test, that's fine, but is a pick list, okay? So you need to enter the choice. So you have the option of creating a new choice, or you can use choices from the particular object. So I can say new choice, select pick list choice, then say business type. Remember, API name do not have spaces, okay? So if you want to create an account, business type is premium and standard, and this option, I want it to be from the account object. So I go to account object, and I say pick list, and the field is business type, okay? I say done. Remember, you can decide what option you want by just saying add choice, business, then add another choice, standard, right? You can do that if you want, but if you want to be very precise, you can get those options directly from the objects, okay? So now that I have that, what else is required when I'm creating an account? Account name and business type, that's it. So I go back and I have these two, and I click on done. Now that's a simple way to create an account without going to the account object. So create simple account form, okay? Save and activate. So now if I go back to my home page, I will be able to see the form, okay? I go to edit page. I go to flow. I drag the flow just right here. Then I select create simple account form. I save. Then I go back to my home page, refresh. Can you see? We now have account sample account, okay? Then the business type comes up. The reason why this business type comes up is because I reference this business type as a pick list, and I said the value of this pick list should come from the account object. So let me go back again and explain. Okay, the first thing I did was to create the account form placeholder. Then I drag the test inputs, which gives me the opportunity to enter any test value in a form. Then I drag the pick list. Let me delete it so we can start again. The first thing I did was drag a test inputs. because I know that the account name is just a simple text. I call it account name, okay? Then I say that input is required. That's number one. Number two, I want a pick list. A pick list that will give me two options, which is if I go to the account objects, I want to create a new account. The business type is premium or standard. So I said I want a pick list that will give me two options, which is business or standard. I have the option of saying, okay, I want to use, because obviously I've created this before, that's why it's giving me that option. But I have the option of saying, I want to create the choice, and I say the choice is business. Business type, business type, but it wouldn't let me do that because I already have a business type. But I have the option of saying, I want to have just business premium, okay? And I can say standard as well, but I don't want to use that because I have this coming from the account object. So I can just say pick list choice set, and I can say business type 2, then select the object because I want to be precise. Because if you don't have that option selected, you cannot create an account object. So I want to be very precise. That's why I'm using this route, okay? I'm using pick list choice set, business type 2, because I already have an existing API called business type, okay? Can you see the API name is already in use? That's why I'm selecting business type 2. Then the object where these options will be coming from is from the account object, okay? And the data type is pick list. And what field would this be? Okay, so business type is the field I want to be pulling data from. Then I click on done. Okay, so you have the option of just typing in anything, enter value, or just 1 minute. Sorry. Enter a default value. I don't want a default value. I just want to enter yes. Then I say no. Okay, so, I told you that you can create your own choice instead of having to go through the longer route. But the longer route gives you a cleaner data because the data will be coming from the object. But if it's just because you don't want to do the longer route, you can also specify that value directly by just entering your choice, okay? Then you click on done, okay? Okay. I'll call it business type, okay? Okay, done. Okay, so you click on save as, you save, and you activate. Again, just refresh your home page, and you will see the form there. And can you see? Yes, no. You see how you were able to add pick list from the objects as well as floating pick list that has no relationship with the objects, okay? So this is how you can create a simple form on the home page. Now, what happens when they click on finish? They have to create a record in the account object, but we haven't done that logic yet. We've only displayed the form. If you go back to your flow, the flow says account record form. That's it. However, if you want to create a record, what do? You go to the elements to create records. That means the first thing you've done is collect the form, records in the form, account name, business type. Then the other thing is you want to create records, okay? I will just say create account record, That's the label. The API automatically appears. Then it's asking you how many records you want to create. If you select multiple, after you finish the first one, it's going to give you the second form you fill. After filling that, it's going to give you the third one you fill. But if you just want to create one record, you just click on one and you select use separate resources and literal values. The reason why you want to use separate resources and literal value is because you want to specify the objects and you want to specify what data to go into the objects. Okay, so now we have the account. This is the record you want to create into the account object. Okay, create a record of this object, the account object. You say the name, which is the client name. If you're creating an account, the first thing they ask you is the client name. Okay, the name. And you go back. What is the name? The name is the account name. What is this account name? This account name is the account name you collected in this form. Okay, that's the account name you collected in this form. And you're specifying that the name should be the account name I just collected. Can you see the name? That's the account name. Then you say the business type. The business type should be the business type you collected in the business type form. What is the business type for? Business type form is this. This is the value you collected and you're storing it into the business type. Then you click on done. Okay, so the first thing is you have the account form. The second thing is you create the account record. You save as and you activate. Okay, so now that you've activated this, I refresh. Then you say new account sample or whatever you want to call it. Then you say premium, you click on next. What it says, an undo fault has occurred in this flow. Now, how would you see the error that has taken place when you're creating flow? You have two options. The first thing is you get an email about this error. Alternatively, you want to display either a success message or a failure message. So the first thing I want to do is I want to display success flow or success account created. Account created would be the success flow. I want to say if account is created successfully, success message. The account has been created successfully. Okay, this would only show if the account was created successfully. So if you're looking at this flow, it's going to say, get the form, get the input from the form, create the account, and display this success. I want to create another flow, okay? I want to create another flow, which is called a fault flow. What is a fault flow? A fault flow is when you try to create something and you get a message and you don't know what the message is. You don't know why you've gotten this message. So you create what they call a fault flow. So if this is not successful, it's going to be a failure. And this is what they call the fault flow. Can you see how I created the fault flow? I just created the flow. If I delete this fault flow, I go back and I create the fault flow. That's how to create a branching out of the normal path. So I click on screen. I will say account not created, okay? Then I display. I want to find out the reason why the account was not created. Error message. So right now, I don't have the liberty to define the reason, I need to look for it in the flow. So I go to flow, then I go to fault message. Fault message would give me the reason why the account was not created, okay? Done, done. So now that I have the success part and the failure part, let's see what happens. I refresh this page and I type in sample account to be created. I select this. I click on next. It says, cannot execute flow trigger. We can't save this record because the annual revenue check process failed. As you can see, the reason why this failed is because we have a validation in place. Okay, we have a validation on the account object, annual revenue check. Where's the validation on annual revenue check? The annual revenue check process failed. Did we write any annual revenue check somewhere?
I think your process builder.
Process builder. Okay, let me check that. Again, this is where things get complex. If you've done something in the system, yeah, we have it in the annual revenue check. So I'm just going to disable this. Okay, go to the active one and deactivate. Okay. So this is one thing you would face in the industry. You have a lot of processes and you need to start thinking, where is this coming from? This is where documentation comes into place. This is where business analysis ensures that the new business request is not breaking existing business request. Okay. So I go back and I click on this. It says account has been created successfully. This is the success part. The failure part was what we had before. I was able to debug that failure part. I was able to see the reason why I couldn't create an account. I fixed that. Now I created an account and it shows me account created successfully. I go back to the account objects and I go to all accounts. And how would I be able to see my newly created account? Or should I give it a very unique name so I can see? I go back to the home to try to create a new account. And I'm going to call it November 22 account so I can easily see it. Okay. Then I click on premium.
The former one was there as a sample to be created.
I forgot the name I gave it. So now that we have November 22 accounts, I go to all accounts, November 22 accounts. We can't not miss that. This is November 22 account. And as you can see, we've created an account just right from the home page. This is a very good use case of creating a simple record from anywhere in your Salesforce. So what have we learned? We've learned how to, one, collect user details. We've learned how to create a record. We've learned how to display a message whenever a record is being created. And we've learned how to branch out of the success part if a record is not created, or if something is not done, what should happen? You want to do the if else, okay? This is the fourth part whereby you can see the error. So I want to stop there for a minute and find out from you guys how this is going. Does this make sense? Do you guys get the whole idea of flow and how to use flow? So ask me like a few questions before we continue. I need to know that you're with me.
We are with you.
Okay. This is not something you would do as a Salesforce admin. This is not something you would do even as a consultant. This is something you would do if you have a big project and you're working in an enterprise that has a lot of operations they want to streamline. So the reason why I'm teaching you this is because I want you to be ready. I want you to be job ready. So next time they ask you, have you heard about flow? You say, yes, I've heard about flow and I know what flow can do. What can you do with flow? You can display a message with flow, welcome message. You can customize your welcome message based on the inputs you get from the system. And what can you do with flow? You can create a record. You can update a record. You can get record and you can delete record. In your exam, this is what they will be testing you on. What can you do with flow? Remember, deleting of records is one of the unique thing in flow that you cannot do with process builder and workflow. Okay, so if they ask you a question, remember, if they say they want to delete records, just select flow, because flow can delete record, workflow cannot, and process builder cannot delete record. So do you guys have any questions before I continue? Okay, let's start all over again, and let me explain this slowly so you can get it. I want to directly create an account, a contact, and opportunities from my home page. I want to create an account, a contact, and opportunity directly from my home page. The first thing I need to do is create the forms, okay? I need to create the forms. How do I get started? I go to flow, okay? I go to flow and I get to flows, okay? This is flow, you get to flow. You create new flow, okay? And you call it screen flow. Screen flow is a flow that you will initiate, like you get to see the screen and you follow the process. That's what they call a screen flow. There's some flow whereby you just have to click a button and you get to see the flow. So let's create a very simple flow that would create an account, a contact, and opportunity. The first thing we need to do is select screen flow and you follow the prompts. Screen flow. I want to use auto layout because auto layout is like a much cleaner way to create flow. So now the first thing is you get this screen, okay? You get this screen and this is perfect. This screen is perfect. You want to add elements. How do you add elements? Whether it is form, whether it is getting of manipulation of data or doing some assignment logic. You click on add elements and you get what interaction you want. Remember, we can do screen, we can do action, we can do soft flow. I haven't shown you this because it's advanced, and I haven't shown you this because if you don't even get what I'm doing, you don't want to go into this because this is like logic and I don't want to overwhelm you tonight. So I'm just going to do the basic one, screen. Okay, what do I want to do first? I want to create an account. So I'm going to call this account form. Okay, this is just a wrapper that wraps the account form. Okay, so now that I have created the account, I've labeled the account form. This is fine. Then what do I want to do in the account form? I want to create an account. What do I need to create an account record? Go back to the account objects. And if you want to create an account record, you need two things that are required: the client name and the business type. Obviously, you can also collect client site, client number, and rating. That's fine. So let's quickly do that. Client name. What kind of data type is a client name? Is a test area. Okay, so now we have the test area and I call it client name. Okay, that's the client name and the API name automatically appears. If I want to make it require, I click on require. Okay, so that's the client name. The next one is the business type. Okay, I go back to my flow and what type of data type is the business type? The data type for business type is a pick list. So I go and I look for pick list and I drag it here. So this is a pick list and I call it business type, okay? And the API name automatically appears. Again, I want this to be a require field and I select require, okay? So now that I select require, don't worry about this data type. This data type and the data type here, they are two different things. This is the format of the data type, but this one is the type of the data you're entering into the system, okay? So don't mix the two together. So now that you have the pick list, I want to add choices. The first option I have is premium. The other one I have is standard. You have two options when you have a pick list. You can either get this value directly from the objects, or you can manually create them like this. Premium, then standard. Okay, this is the manual process of creating a pick list. Alternatively, you can click on add choice. So instead of creating them, you can create a new choice resource and select pick list choice sets. Then you can say business, account business type, pick list. Account business type, you're gonna get it from the account object and you're gonna select pick list. Then you say it's from the business type, okay? This is an alternative way of pulling pick list from a particular object. You don't have to do it this way, but it is much cleaner if you do it this way. However, you can determine your pick list value directly without having to go through a cleaner way. But obviously, my recommendation is to get it in a cleaner way from the object. So you have two options of creating pick lists. So going back to the account object again, I want to have client number and client site. So I go back to my flow and I go to test. I call it client site, okay? Oh, sorry. Client site, then I go to another test again. What's it called? Client number, okay? Client number. Okay, so
shouldn't the data type be number, not text?
It doesn't really matter, but if the data type is number here, as you can see, it's just text, but I don't know what it is, but it shouldn't be a problem. Let me see. Client number is text, right? Okay. So it's text, yeah. So that's not really a major, it shouldn't be a blocker. You can call it number, you can call it anything. As long as text it has free flow, you can call it number and anything like that. So now I have created the account form, okay? I want to create the contact form. I click on add element. I call contact form, okay? Then I have this contact form. Now I want to drag the name, okay? When you drag the name, you get first name and last name, okay? You get a lot of properties here, but you don't have to worry. Just call it name, okay? Or you can call it contact name. So you get to know that it is contact name, okay? Don't worry about all this, but if you know what you're doing, you can specify the first name, the last name, and everything like that. But I will tell you how to do it. So you drag the name there. I want to drag a phone field, okay? And I call it phone. And I want to drag email field for the contact. I call it email, okay? And one thing I also want to do is I want to associate this contact to an account. Remember, if you are in contacts, you want to create a new contact, you have the opportunity of associating it with an account. This is optional, but you have that opportunity. So what kind of field is this? It's called a lookup field, okay? So I'm gonna go to lookup, and I will select API name should be account name, maybe, or account ID. Okay, then you have that object API should be just give me 1 minute, let me think. Object API name, record value, stuff like that. I can say, just give me 1 minute, okay? The field API name, the object API name, I can grab a new resource and see, I want this to be just a variable. I want it to be account name. Okay, then I can say this is a test, and I say available for input, which is fine. I can actually call this record ID. Okay, done. Then I have this as account name or account ID. You just have to be very careful when you're labeling this so you don't get confused. Account ID, I'll just put this as account ID, okay? And I can say field API name, account ID, okay? So I have that. Okay. If value is required. Yeah. Then I have the opportunity form. I have the same thing, okay? I have the same thing. Opportunity, the first thing is test. Okay, and I call it opportunity name. Okay, then I made it required. If I want to create an opportunity, what do I need? What are the required fields? Close date and stage name. Opportunity currency default is Canadian dollar, so I don't have any requirement there. So the only thing I need is close date and stage name. Okay, so I go to date field and I call it stage. Okay, I call it close date. Okay, close date require because I need it. Then I have stage name. Sorry, I have pick list. Pick list, and I'm gonna call it stage. Okay, require, that's fine. But remember, I wanna use something from the opportunity object, okay? So I'll do it the other way. I'll call it stage name is coming from the opportunity. Okay, the data type is pick list and I'm getting it from the stage name, okay? Done. So now we have the opportunity name, close name, and stage. That's fine, done. What's the error? Invalid screen, I did not call it. Opportunity form, okay? Done. But there's one thing I needed to do as well. I needed to add the account name, because if you're creating opportunity, you have the option of selecting the account for that opportunity as well. So you need a lookup. And I'm gonna say the account ID. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I have that. I will just say account name. If you don't really know what you're doing yet, sometimes you don't have to specify all this, or you just have to make sure you have your name ready so you can actually know what to select here. Okay, so sometimes it can get really messy if you don't know what you're doing, especially for the lookup. But we're gonna test it shortly. So we'll click on done. Okay, so now I've only created the forms. Okay, remember this is just a form. Click on save, and you say quick contact, quick accounts, contacts, and opportunity form. Okay, and you have that. You click on save. So now that you've created just the form, you can go to the home page. Okay, you can go to the home page, edit this page, and drag a flow in there. I'll just take off all this for a start so it doesn't. Drag a flow. Then you want to, now I want to show you an example of a bottom trigger flow. I want to show you an example of a bottom triggered flow. So I'll go to the accounts page, accounts. I'm going to create a new button. Okay, new action is a button I want to create. Okay, I'm going to get it from the flow. I'm going to say create simple account form. Okay, then I call it quick contact opportunity button. Okay, then I click on save. Now I've created a very simple action using the account object. I can go to the layout and drag the button, the action, into my layout. So what do I mean by that? If I go to the account object and I have this button, I want to put my flow in all this place. So when I click on that button, it's going to display the form. That's what I want to do. Okay. So I go back to the flow. I go back to the account layout. I go to mobile lightning action. Then I look for my quick contacts. Okay, that's it. Quick contact opportunity form button. I click on save. I go to my account layout, any account layout, just refresh. Refresh again. It should kick in. Let's see. Okay, just go to accounts. Go to this. Okay, I know what the problem is. The layouts. Let me see the record type. This is a premium layout. I can do it for both, but you just have to kind of like think through what you're doing and make sure that what you're doing is making sense to you. Okay, quick contact opportunity, save for premium layouts, then go to standard and do the same thing. Okay, so we have that save. So regardless of what account record type is, we should be able to see that button. Okay, quick contact opportunity. Again, let me explain what I just did. I tried to drag a quick action here, but I couldn't see it. The reason why I couldn't see it is because this record belongs to a particular record type, okay? It belongs to a particular record type, and I had to look for the fact because every account record you create has a record type. So if you are making changes to the account layout, you wouldn't see the changes you've made because every account you've created has a record type. And I had to bring that quick action based on the record type of the account record I am currently viewing, okay? So now we can see the form. The first form is the account name. Select a business type. You go next. Okay, again, the required field is missing and blah, blah, blah. You have to select the required field. Next. Sorry. No. What is this referencing? Quick contact opportunity, edit. It should be referencing create simple account form. Where's our flow? Activate. Okay. I needed to activate that. Go to the flow. Create simple account form. Quick account contact opportunity form. This is the flow I need, not this one. Okay. So I needed to change that flow. Let me refresh so I can see it. Quick, yeah. So I was previously calling the other flow, but now I'm calling the real flow. Refresh. Then if you click on it, so it's saying this page has error. You might just need to refresh it once. Don't worry about that for now. The bottom is lost. I need to find a button. Go to the flow, quick account opportunity, and find out why we don't have a button. Show header, show footer. So business type. Refresh. Okay, it's there. So this is number one. Okay, next is going to show the contact form. Okay, it's going to show the contact form, but I think there is a limitation on there's a limitation on the account ID based on our sharing settings, but I can take that off so it doesn't stop us. Then it's going to go to the next one, which is the contact. Then after that, it's going to go to opportunity. So you're collecting 3 details for the 3 different objects simultaneously. Okay, that's the whole idea of that. But before we go forward, let me take off the account lookup that is blocking that from happening. Okay. You can delete this screen component. Remove all references, then delete. Okay. Reference by opportunity account ID. Okay. Go to opportunity account ID. Take this off first. Okay. Done. Then go back here and take this off. Done. Okay. Save as. Activate. Then you go back to the quick form again. Refresh. So we shouldn't have that error. Quick contact opportunity. You fill the account first. You go to next. You fill the contact. You fill the phone number. You go to next. Then you fill the opportunity. Then you finish. But obviously, what you want to do is you want to create another flow that says create records. Okay, that will take us another 15 to 20 minutes. And I don't think I want to do that, but I guess you guys get the gist. What I can do is I can show you how to create one record, which I already did previously, but let me just show you again. so you can see what's happening. I'll just say create account record, okay? Create account record. I want to create just one record, not multiple. Then I select use a separate value because I know where the value is coming from. I select the account name, okay? Then the value for the account name is coming from my form inputs and is client name, okay? Then I select the business type, and the value for the business type is coming from my business type pick list, okay? I select client site, and the value for the client site is coming from client site, okay? I select client number, and the value for the client number is coming from client number. I click on done, okay? So the first thing it's gonna do is gonna create an account record. Alternatively, you can copy these elements, okay? And paste copied elements. So after collecting the account form, you create account record. Then you have to do the same for contact. Then you do the same for opportunity. Okay. So let's test the account form record collection, account record creation. Then we know that our flow is working. Then we can do for contact and we can do for opportunity. Okay, so I refresh this page again. I click on quick contact and I type in sample account name. Okay, then I select this. I select 1, 2, 3, something like that. Then I go to next. But now it says unhandle faults occurred in this flow. And remember what I told you about identifying your faults. So you want to click on this and add a fault to find out why you couldn't create the accounts, okay? So I click on screen and I say failed account creation, okay? It's just a screen. Then I go to display. I drag display here and I say error message, okay? I want to find out why I couldn't create account. I go to flow. I found out the fault message. So I save as. I click on activate, okay? Then I go back to this. I refresh. I click on quick account creation. I want to find out why I couldn't create. The error occurred, business type field is missing. So business type field is missing, but I think I specified business type. Why is it missing? So I'll go to my flow. I click on this. I edit. I go to account business type. I think I labeled it as account business type. I cannot remember. So I click on done. As a BA, these are the kind of things you want to communicate with your developer or a consultant. So your developer just don't name things anyhow. They would name things logically. So whenever a developer is working, they'll be able to understand what they're building, okay? So I go back to this and I create. I don't think the business type was mapping to the right field, okay? That's how you know, by just creating a simple error flow to test. Okay? Business type, required missing business type. Okay, let me go again and make sure that I have this fixed. Go to edit. This is the account business type. Business type. That's strange. So what I can do is go to this and find out what I name as business type. This is business type. This is business type. This is required. I delete this premium standard. Perhaps it's not saying that. Okay, so I have this. I would just go and select this. Okay, done. Sometimes you can also run and see what comes up. So it's actually right, which is funny. I think I'm selecting the wrong business type. Okay, so that was just wrong. So I will go back. Alternatively, I can go to my resource type and just delete it. So I know that definitely this is the account business type. I'm referencing it somewhere. Okay, for now, I'll just put 1, 2, 3, or I will change it, okay? I'll change it just because I want to be able to delete it here. You can delete this pick list, remove all references, which I already did, but let me see again. This deletes this reference. It's just by business type. So let me go back, edit this business type. I'll just take it off for now, okay? And I'll just put a choice of premium just for now, so I can delete this and make sure that I have no affiliation to that. Then go back, edit this, and now let's create a business type that we know for sure is coming from the account object. So business type, I go to pick list, I delete this, and I say new choice resource. I call it pick list choice sets. I call it original business type, just to be sure. Then I get it from the account object. Okay. Then I select pick list. Then I select business type, making sure that it is coming from the business type. Okay. And I click on done. So now I know definitely the value I'm going to be selecting is the original business type. That's why I don't like to use free flow pick list, because free flow pick list, if my pick list is a restricted pick list, it might impact the account record creation. Okay, so now I know definitely it's coming from the account record, account object, activate. Then I go back to my flow again. I refresh, and I have the quick contacts. I say sample new account, business type should be original, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Then if I click next, it should create account first before invalid or null restricted pick list, business type, 1, 2, 3, bad value for. This is strange, so I will just call it something. Invalid or null value for restricted pick list business type. Bad value pick list field. Oh, sorry. I did not make the changes. Initially, I made an assumption that this is 1, 2, 3 because I wanted to delete the business type I created. So right now, I'm going to be putting the original business type as the input parameter for business type. Okay, done. I hope you guys are not lost, because this is a bit technical, but it's very intuitive as well. In as much as it's technical, it's something you guys can easily understand if you watch through the video. So now that I have that, I'm going to refresh again and test. Okay, so I click on quick contacts, sample account name, premium, just random stuff, that's fair. Click on next. Now, showing that indicates that account record has been created and is now asking for contact information. But what we could also do is we can go to the flow, which is the quick account contacts creation form. So instead of moving straight off to contact, I want to communicate to the user that the account has been created. They can go to next. So I create a new screen and I call it account creation confirmation. Okay. Then I have a display test that says success, account success message, account success message. Okay. Then I say, well done, your account has been created successfully. Go to next to create contacts. Okay. So I just give this green just to indicate that it was successfully created. Okay, so now account creation confirmation screen appears before you start the contact. Okay, this is just a way of communicating what the flow is doing. So anyone using the flow would be able to get what the flow is doing before just filling any form. So I go to quick contact again, and I create last account creation for tonight. Okay, then I have business type as premium. I have site as random, this as random, then next. Well done, your account has been created successfully. Go to next to create contact. Next, you create contact. You do the same thing for contact. Next, you do that, okay? So this is just a flow. That's why it's called flow. Flow meaning that you are going with the flow. You are literally building a flow, and whenever there is an error, you display the error. Whenever there is a success, you go straight to the flow, okay? And there is also what they call assignments. We cannot do that tonight because it is getting technical, and I don't want to lose you guys. I don't want to lose you guys, so I'll just keep it simple. Even though it looks a bit technical, it's still very simple compared to what is possible with flow. As an admin, you don't need to know flow. You just need to be able to answer questions under flow. But if you want to really, really see the beauty of Salesforce and the future of Salesforce, this is flow. Flow can take a whole day to even use. From a user point of view, I don't use this as a developer because it's for those that do not want to write code. All this that we're doing, I can write 5 lines of code to do it. But if you don't want to write code, this is the future of Salesforce declarative programming. Okay? I will stop here for tonight because we've done a lot and I've introduced a lot of things. But remember, this is outside of the scope of the requirement of a Salesforce admin as well as a Salesforce consultant. But because the curriculum says flow, I went deep into flow just to show you what's possible with flow, okay? So don't get discouraged about this. It has nothing to do with what we're doing, and I wouldn't give you a project under flow. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna open the floor for questions if you have any, which I really doubt, but please feel free to ask me any question so I can help you. Guys, question, please. Have I lost you guys? Are you guys still with me?
We are still here.
No
Okay,
question for today.
It's all knowledge overload.
There's no question. You explained it well.
You seem to be
imagine me teaching this and you know,
I'm sure if anybody asked the question, I wouldn't even make sense of the question, like, you know.
Wow. This is flow. This is the future of Salesforce.
You need to understand before you ask.
It's just that it's not really flowing.
It needs to flow before we can now.
That guy knows what he's saying.
To be fair, I don't use flow at work. I am a developer. If you're not a developer, then you use flow. So if you really want to become like a Salesforce developer without writing code, then try to learn Flow because you would appreciate Salesforce more, and you can do a lot of things. Okay. It's very intuitive, but it's very technical as well.
I know you get better with hands-on.
Yeah. And you need to have a use case, a good use case that would make you want to use it, not just what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is basic, create new record, create and stuff. You need to be able to delete record. Let me tell you a good use case. You want to select all accounts that has no maybe annual revenue and display annual revenue of $0. How would you do that? You use Flow. You use Flow to do that, okay? Alternatively, you generate a report. You will export that report into CSV. You put $0 and you import it back to the Salesforce. That's like almost 3 to 4 steps. But with Flow, just one single click, you can do it. With Flow, you can multiple delete and stuff like that. So you see how powerful Flow is, but you need to know how to use it before you start solving that business problem. So Salesforce is making it easy for you to do anything in their org, but you need to know how. There are so many ways you can do it via 3-4 steps or via one click. But the first thing is you need to invest time into knowing how to create a simple flow. And based on that, you'll be able to go further. So I'm going to stop because I don't expect you to have questions. And even if you're watching this video and you don't understand, don't worry, it's not required for whatever Salesforce admin or even consultant. But as a developer, you should know this. You should try to learn about Flow and see what the future of Salesforce is all about. Okay? Anyone? Yeah, carry on, please.
I wanted to ask, would you say this Flow is the equivalent of ETL in Salesforce?
Extract, transform, load. Not really. ETL is a different concept, right? But Flow does ETL swiftly, like easily. Do you understand what I mean? But it does more than ETL. So I wouldn't call it equivalent, but I'll call it, something you can use to do ETL and more. Did you get what I mean?
Yeah, thank you.
So,
sorry, a quick question, please.
Yeah.
I noticed that with Flow, it only applies to the screen, to the page.
No. I've only been doing screen for you guys, right? There's more to Flow than just a screen. Can you see? You have schedule trigger. That means you can run a batch process behind the scene. The batch process will just look for all account record that has invalid, that has null as account revenue and update them to 0.
Okay.
This is the kind of thing you can do behind the scene. You don't even need to run the flow to do this. It's just going to do it. You specify the dates when it should launch and it will do it itself. Record trigger. Right now, all the flow I've been showing you is screen flow because that's the most visual way of showcasing flow. But it could also trigger flow when a record is created. You understand? When a record is created, you can create another record from a different object, just like you've done for workflow and you've done for process builder, you can do for flow as well. Again, auto launch. You can run a flow through a process builder. Just like I showed you earlier, you can select a flow as an action that should take place after a process builder criteria has been met. So there's so many options you can do, like just play around with it, but don't focus on it too much until you finish your certification exam. Then you can now say, okay, if I'm interested in learning more about Salesforce, you should be playing around with Flow, but don't do it right now.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question? So guys, we've pretty much covered the entire syllabus. The only thing I said syllabus, curriculum. So we have maybe one more module that we need to cover and maybe approval process. I haven't really done approval process, but I can give you an overview of approval process tomorrow. And the only thing left is productivity and collaboration. So this has to do with App Exchange. I've given you an instance of App Exchange, and that's the adoption dashboard, right? So we've seen how to install application from App Exchange, and we've been able to use it. I've done a bit of chatter for you guys and Salesforce mobile app. You guys can read through this, although I will give you an overview, but I wouldn't spend too much time on this. We have pretty much covered the syllabus. The only thing left is probably approval process, okay? Approval process I will do tomorrow, and I will try to touch base with this. Then the next thing we have to do is a certification preparation. I'm currently uploading your quiz, and it should be ready maybe starting from tomorrow or latest Wednesday. Try to do the quiz as much as possible. If you want to do the certification exam, it's very easy. If you can get 100% in all the quiz I upload, you will get your certification by December 15th. So your target should be, I want to get 100% in all the quizzes on the website I load. Remember, quiz.single login. I want to get 100% in all those quizzes. Then you should be able to get your certification by December 15th. And I think for the project 2, I'm going to be solving it on Thursday. So that will take a bit of time. Please, if you're going to miss any day, do not miss Thursday, because you're going to learn a lot and you're going to see the solution to your projects. After December 15, those that successfully pass the certification, they might probably have one-on-one meeting with me, or we can have a group conversation on how to face interviews in Salesforce. But remember, if you don't have your certification, I cannot push you more than getting your certification. So if you get a certification, I can now push you to start getting jobs. And remember, you need to start applying for job as soon as you get a certification. This is when they recruit for next year. So you don't get offer letter. If you're very lucky to get offer letter in December, but chances are you still get offer letter, but you'll be very lucky to get it. In January is when you're going to be getting your offer letters. I'm being prophetic right now. So in January, that's when you're going to be getting your offer letter, but you need to start applying from December. There will be like getting a lot of jobs out there. There will be recruitment, open center, all those job stuff. So please be ready. And by December is when you should be ready. So January is when you should be getting your job. Try your best to clear the certification. We've done a lot. Watch the videos and you'll be fine. Okay? Watch the videos and you'll be fine. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
I have a question.
Yeah. Carry on.
Okay, my question is like you said you will take off the videos recordings after November?
It's going to be accessed through single login. So if your account is still valid on single login, you'll be able to access it. And after November, yes, the videos will only be available for subscribers. So try as much as possible to watch all the videos. If you really need to, note them down, but the only subscribers will be able to see the video going forward after November. So if you want to subscribe, you can go to Blackforce and subscribe, but that would be reduced from $250 to about $25. So you can still have access to the platform, but you're just not going to be having access to mentorship and stuff like that. But you still be able to use the platform. And I wouldn't take any payment offline. It has to be online because there is no resource to manage those operations. So technically what I'm trying to tell you is that the video will be available until the end of the month. Then your access to single login might not give you access to the video anymore. Then you just need to go on Blackforce and subscribe for $25 and you'll be able to see the videos of all the lessons we've had. And that applies to the quiz as well. So the quiz, I'm going to load it. Today is 22. So you have the option to do the quiz for 8 days, like literally just go on it and finish the quiz and be happy with it. Then after that, all the subscribers will be able to do everything we're doing going forward. Okay. So the idea is
from the USA, you will take the payments in USA dollar?
No, Canadian dollars. It's Canadian dollars. So it's about maybe $18 for people living in the States or something like that. $18 or $15, I don't know. It's just to make sure that we can sustain the server that loads the video because it's very expensive. They charge us every month. Everything, they charge us every month. And I need to be able to sustain it, right? I don't get much funding for this. The training is already free, so let's just kind of like support the mission, otherwise it's going to cripple. Okay, I think that's it. Does anyone
I have a question, yeah. So
Okay,
it's for those of us in the US, Thursday is Thanksgiving. Do you have any plans for us? Any considerations for us?
Look, I cannot go more than Thursday, honestly. We've had so many Thanksgiving this month. I think there was one, Remembrance Day. And the thing is, I cannot teach for more than 1 month. I have other plans as well, right? And if I keep extending the teaching period, it's going to affect my own plan as well. So I just want to make sure that ideally, it should be 23 that we finish, but I'm extending it to like 25. So we make sure that everything is covered. So Thanksgiving on Thursday, just come and do the projects or watch the video for the project. I won't be teaching on Thursday, just the project, strictly the project. Okay.
All right.
Babatope, are you going to, I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. Have you taken us through project 1?
No. We're going to do everything on Thursday. So Thursday might be a very long day. Please be prepared for it. We're going to go through it, and I will show you how to register for your certification tomorrow as well. So you can see how to register. And I'll try to look for voucher. It's been a while. I look for voucher, but I think those that register for their certification before the end of November 30 could possibly get a voucher. I'm not too sure. Okay. And if you pass your certification, if you do your certification between the 10th and December 15th, you get $100 from me for passing your certification. So there is a reward for you if you do take your certification between the 10th of December and the 15th of December. $100 cash back on your certification exam. Just make sure you pass it and you post it in the group saying, I've passed my certification. It's first come, first serve, okay? Post it in the group and say you've passed, then $100 cash back for you will be reimbursed.
Percentage of passing the exam.
You will see the result right in front of you once you've done it. So you either get your certification or you don't get your certification. That's a percentage.
Is it just for one person, the cashback?
First 10 people. First 10 people.
Okay, yeah. That
How many times are we given to do like retake in case you failed?
Don't worry, I'll explain all those stuff tomorrow. And just come tomorrow to see how you can register and how you can prepare for the certification. But I think you can take it 2-3 times, but you cannot take it immediately after you fail. You have to wait for like 2 to 3 days before you can take it. But don't do it until you're ready. That's why I said don't do it before the 10th, okay? I think 2 weeks is enough for you to prepare for your certification. So someone actually messaged me yesterday. He was part of this training and he got his certification yesterday. So just what I've taught you guys for 3 weeks was enough for him to get a certification. So imagine it's easy, right? But don't rush until you're ready. And I'll give you everything it takes to be ready. Just take your time, but make sure you do it within the 10th of December and the 15th of December. That's all I would say if you want to get a reimbursement. But after the 15th, you won't get a reimbursement, regardless of whether you're the first 10 or not. Okay? Yeah. Any other question before we end the call for tonight?
So is it for those that are registered as consultants or everyone?
No, everyone. You don't have to be, no, I'm not giving it if you do it before the 10th. So there is no one spot gone. It's still open, but you have to do it between the 10th and 15th. And you don't need to be a subscriber to get the reimbursement. It's Black Force, and we're going to give it to you. Okay?
God bless you.
How much is this certification? How much does it cost?
The certification costs $200 USD. I'll be explaining all those stuff to you tomorrow. Okay? It costs about $200 USD, but I will try to look for a voucher. I will try to see how I can help you to get discount on your certification, but I need to do my research. It's been a while, but I need to do my research. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Sorry, hi Babatope. Just to add to this, I know Salesforce, they do this half-day webinar where you get $40 off voucher. And there's one that is going to be on the 29th of September. Sorry, we're in November, 29th of November, yeah.
Yeah, you guys need to be, that's why I keep saying don't rush it. You will get all this stuff. I need to do my research on the voucher thing. It's usually very common. So you get about $40 off the certification. You get about $70, $80 as a reimbursement if you pass. So you're only investing about just $100 on your certification. But again, it's not about the free. It's about being able to successfully clear the certification at once. It's not going to be cool if you're doing the certification 2-3 times, but if you do it once, you feel like, yes, I know Salesforce. Okay, that's the goal. Okay, so try and be patient, and let's go with the flow, and hopefully we can get this certification done.
Okay, I thought it was $100 though. Yeah,
what do you mean? $100 for
certification? I didn't know.
No, it's not $100 though. It's 200. It's 200 USD. Yeah. And this is probably going to be the cheapest. I think Salesforce Admin, Salesforce Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and probably Sales Cloud are 200. But once you start going up the ladder, it becomes more expensive. Okay. But again, don't worry. Once you get your first job in Salesforce, you realize that certification is nothing compared to how much you make being a Salesforce consultant. So you'll just be ready to invest as much as possible in any certification that relates to Salesforce. Okay. I think that's all from me. Thanks for your audience. Take care, guys. And hopefully you don't get overwhelmed and you still come for tomorrow's lecture. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.